Hey guys, how's it going? I'll show you how I do a vat change. Last time we done this one was 9/18. I have 9 printers here, so just give you an idea. What I do is I get these RC bits. They come in a set. They come in these little where you can take them out of the handles. I put them in my drill. I'm going to show you how to keep from stripping these out too. I've been doing this for 4 years and I ain't never had a problem. It's a lot better than trying to do it by your hands, you know, trying to take them out like this one here. Only reason I'm doing it with this is I don't have the exchangeable bit in this size. This is on Elegoo Saturn 3 Ultra. And something to think about is make sure that you get all this stuff cleaned up real good. There might be just a little piece of something on there. Good way to poke a hole in your vat when you're done. What I usually do is I put rubbing alcohol in a spray bottle. I clean my front of my printers off with it and whatnot, and I think the cleaner you keep them, the longer they'll last. Set that aside there. Get our bit changed out. To me, this is really the best way to do this, man. You don't have to poke the hole before you put the screw in this way. It just makes the job so much faster. And you know, when you go to tighten these down, you turn this all the way. And then it only tightens them so tight, that way you don't strip the screw out. You probably hear my filament printers running in the background too. They make a little more noise than the resin printers do. I tried not to run any of the resin printers, but I do got one going. That way it saves on the noise in the video. Remember, when you're taking the little screws out, this is always shiny side up. That's the easiest way to remember that. Always clean these up real good. You don't want nothing left on there and poke a hole and then go all over your screen. That's the last thing that you want to happen. Let me grab the new film. Now, crank this thing all the way to where you ain't gonna tighten them down too much. And I don't tighten them down very much at first. You know, I'll go around them again. You always want to make sure that they're not too tight, but you don't want them loose either, you know. I usually push down a little bit on the outside. I don't know if you've been noticing that, but you don't want to pull it too tight because your screws, when you put this into the vat, the frame there, it's going to tighten them down a little bit anyway. That makes your screen really tight. So you don't want it overly tight and then have a big problem later. I usually do 5 vats at a time. That way I have them when I need them for the printers. It saves having all this mess, you know, and then just do 1 or 2 of them. The good thing is you know, you set this for a certain torque setting, and that's what it's going to tighten them down to. That way you don't over tighten them. I almost cross-threaded that one. Usually you can back them out and spin them back in. I've never had one actually strip out. I've never really cross-threaded one to the point where it won't come back out. These are aluminum screws, so they're pretty soft. I see more people actually strip these out, doing it with a screwdriver, trying to over tighten them, than I do putting them in like this. And then, you know, you always poke in the holes. You poke the holes before you put your screw in. You ain't got to do that like this, so it's just so much faster. Add a couple here. Make sure these are first ones there. Yep. Now there's a little groove, you know, where that goes in between there. I just take my razor blade and try to get it in that groove. Take her all the way around there if I can. For you guys that drop these razor blades and you stick them in your feet, this little retractable one is amazing. You can pick one of these up on eBay for like 12 bucks. I about stuck my dog in the foot one day, and I'm like, man, there's got to be a retractable one or something out there. And I look it up and I come up with this. I mean, this thing is amazing. Sometimes I'll just pull it back in and then put it in my pocket. Carry it around, you know, when I'm opening packages and stuff. It's just done really good for me. Now I always have a terry cloth or a microfiber towel close, because you don't want no dirt left on these. And if you run over where you just put all them screws in with this microfiber, it takes all those little pieces off from where you put your screws in there. So later you don't find them in your vat. Now you don't want these going very tight. Just enough to hold it until you get all the screws in there, and then you're going to go around and tighten them down. And I do the last 4 corners last. ripped the thumb out of my glove, that way I can grab a hold of the screws easier, so. Otherwise, sometimes you can't really get a hold of them very well. Probably the longest video I posted for you guys. Hopefully this helps you. Alright, let's go ahead and skip around here. And I don't wind this thing all the way out, as you can tell. You don't need these to be overly tight, man. You don't want to come back later and go, oh man, I can't get that out because I stripped it. Now, if you got an old test light or something, it works real good to do your corners. And if I had a bit to go in there, I could have just changed that out and I wouldn't have to do it like this, you know. One other thing on these, you want to make sure where your back screws go in that you clean that out, because if you leave this little piece of plastic in here, what happens is that goes down in the hole. And I found this out 4 years ago when I started printing. But it'll go down in that hole, and eventually your screw won't tighten down, and then you're stuck trying to clean it out, or you put a washer on it or something, and then you can't get it out of there. What I do is I cut it out and then pull it out of there. Just like that. She's ready. Clean it up. I throw a couple paper towels in between these, and then I put them in a box and I stick them down in the cabinet, and it's ready for the printer. Have a good one, guys. Hope it helps. Works on the Elegoo printers, anycubic. Them are the two resin printers that I run. So have a good day.